Sure, it should be Harris Roberts on pole position, but we still await the arrival of his kart. Riley Blakemore then will start alongside on the front row. Joshua Owen and Max Williams on row 2. Jensen White and Jake Borey are on row number 3. 7th is Mason Webster with James Winstanley sharing row 4 with him. Sam Hayes and Cam Tipping complete your top 5. Max Wheatley and George Ralston are on row number 6. Then it's Jack Collinson and Ralphie Branscombe with Ayrton Rye and Max Housego on row 8. Thomas Potter starts 17th with Isabella Stansmore Wilson in P18. Lewis Hall, Max Greytrex, Rio Warderley, Harry Samuel, Alfie Forrester and Charlie Eibel is 24th. And then we have Red Lind in 25th place. As we just await a few carts being dropped into position, we are still awaiting what should be our pole sitter and championship leader, Harris Roberts. The 45 cart not in position at the moment. And he will know that he's needed because he didn't do heats 1 or 2, which means he's definitely got to be out in 3, 4 or 5. So I don't know whether he's had problems in heat number 3, although he did finish and was classified in 10th place. Don't know where he is at the moment. Keeping an eye out in the background to see whether the cart is going to be making its way up into position on a trolley. But at the moment, cannot see the 45 of Harris Roberts, and the field is being sent on its way. It looks like, as it stands, the pole position berth, which should be occupied by our championship leader, is going to be left vacant here in heat number 4. And what that will likely mean as well is that Roberts is going to have to go into the B final unless we see a kart appear miraculously out of the dummy grid in the next 5 seconds. So Riley Blakemore then will effectively take over pole position, being on the outside of the front row, with P1 being vacant. It's not like we're not going to move everybody up. That berth remains clear in the lead. So Blakemore then on the outside in a clear pole, effectively clear second place. Behind though the 24 of Max Williams. That kart pointed towards the inside, and out on the back of the field there comes Harris Roberts. Now makes his way right the way down. So them tyres are going to be very, very cold for Harris Roberts, having not done the rolling up lap. He's going to slot into that pole position berth. Roberts then being rolled into position. As we mentioned, those tyres are going to be incredibly cold, having not done a rolling up lap. So let's see whether he can get that 45 kart stopped at the first corner. As Marshall makes his way down the grid. Everybody is clearly into position as he makes his way back up the field. I think we are good to go. Just going to wait for track clearance. And the penultimate race of the morning session should be good to go here in Honda Cadet. Just waiting to listen out of the commentary box windows for them engine notes to begin to rise here in the Honda Cadet. Drivers being kept on the grid for a while, and as anybody that's got a child between 8 and 13 years old will know, they don't do a lot of patience, and they're being kept waiting out there on the grid for clearance. Green flag at the back. We are good to go then. The engine notes do begin to rise. Lights out, and we are away and racing, and Roberts on the inside. It's a good start from Blakemore then on the outside, as Joshua Owen also runs around all the way around the outside in the 57 and almost grabs second place as they head into the first corner. Round the first 2, and we're nice and clean, and Blakemore moves into the lead and closes the door then on Harris Roberts. This moves further down the field. We'll wait until they sort themselves out, and everybody is nicely round hairpin 3 as well, as Isabella Stansmore-Wilson, though, is on the outside. She'll not want to be there as they head towards that double apex left, and everybody really sorts themselves out into a nice single file, with the exception of Max Gray-Trex, who in the background bounces up and over the curbs. His moves down the inside there as Mason Webster gets hung out on the outside and loses a couple of places. Collinson as well slots into position as they make their way towards the first corner. Ayrton Rye comes through as well down the inside. Roberts then leading the way from Blakemore, Williams and White, the top 4. This is a move there from Sam Hayes down the inside of James Winstanley into the hairpin at the bottom of the track, and he gets the move done, moving him up into 6th place behind Jake Borey. Then we've got George Ralston, Joshua Owen and Cam Tipping completing the top 10. As Tipping goes wide out onto the rumble strip, not for the first time. He's had a bit of a trip down there at that corner. And then looks like that's Potter in 12th place. We just saw him there making a very, very late run at Max Wheatley, I think, into the final corner. It could have been on Cam Tipping, as Wheatley's dropped a few moved up into 9th. Everybody else slotting nicely into position. That's Potter down the inside of Cameron Tipping into the hairpin. Straightens the wheel up, forces Tipping wide. And with 2 minutes, that's moved him up. Jensen White down the inside, I think it moves himself up into 3rd place. Williams, that's Ralphie Branscombe going very, very slowly. Looks like he's had a bit of an off somewhere out on track. Could have been down there at hairpin 3 for Branscombe. He's down in 23rd place on the previous lap. That's going to have dropped him a few more places. As this Blakemore takes a huge chunk of curb. That unsettles the car, almost speared him into Jensen White there. White did really well to take evasive action, and Blakemore did even better to stop that kart from spinning round. Blakemore getting very, very lucky there not to be involved in a very, very big accident as Cameron Tipping and looks like Jack Collinson run side by side into that double apex left. They're currently battling it out just outside the top 10. At the front though, Harris Roberts is moving away at the front with a commanding lead. There's still a battle going on. Looks like Jensen White could well be breaking away from this one, although Blakemore will be looking to stick with. The mistake on the previous lap cost him at least 1 place, but could have been a lot more in the grand scheme of things. And now, Housey and there's Borey. Colour schemes very, very similar in 4th place in front of Max Williams. Sam Hayes running well in 6th place in front of Winstanley, Ralston, Potter and Wheatley. Although that battle from Winstanley down is much further back. I think Winstanley's actually dropped down a few places as well, as this time Borey gets a good run on Blakemore. Blakemore's going to try and squeeze him to the inside, but Blakemore's going to get forced out here as Sam Hayes comes through as well. Not sure what Riley Blakemore's upset about there, because the gap just opened up and allowed everybody to move through. So as in the background, Thomas Potter goes out onto the grass and bounces all the way off to the onto the green stuff. Sam Hayes then now up into 3rd place, having crossed the line in 5th on the previous lap. Got past Blakemore. There's moves in the background there. We've just caught sight of Mason Webster battling with Joshua Owen. And Sam Hayes comes to the inside. Borey's going to try and run all the way around the outside, but he's not going to be able to hold on to that one. Look over his shoulder because he sees Riley Blakemore coming with Max Williams as well. In the background, they've got Max Wheatley who's going to join this one. Then we've got Collinson, Rye and Potter down into 11th place. Though Rye has dropped outside the top 10 now, with Potter and Tipping up there as well. So it looks like Potter has inserted himself into the top 10 after that excursion across the grass on the previous lap. 3 minutes remaining in this Honda Cadet heat number 4. One more heat for Hondas before we go to their B final later on in the day. And Sam Hayes once again taking that line is very, very effective for him. Let's see whether Borey, there's anything he can do to find a way past Sam Hayes. In front of them, Jensen White just driving away into a comfortable second place. Hayes once again to the inside. Borey will try and get the cut back, but that's going to put him on the outside. If Blakemore was a little bit closer, he'd be straight into that gap that wouldn't allow Borey to come back through. But on the back now, Max Wheatley's closed right up with, then we're going to get Jack Collinson trying to close right in on the back as well of this one. Quick look, it's the fastest driver. Wheatley is the quickest driver on track. The last lap, some half a second quicker than everybody else, as he closed right up on this battle that is being led by Sam Hayes in third place, with Borey behind, and Hayes now comes to the inside to defend. Does so. Borey gets the run once again. This is what I meant last time about Blakemore being close enough, is if you can get just the nose down the inside, then Borey's not going to be able to get back in the train. And in the same way that Blakemore got hung out a few laps ago, the same is going to happen if Borey doesn't keep the door closed. However, in the background, you've got Jack Collinson and Thomas Potter looking to join onto the back of this. And it's a nervous look over the shoulder from Max Wheatley, who had the pace to close right up on this battle, but hasn't been able to make inroads. And now, once again, Sam Hayes to the inside. Now Borey slots back out onto the outside. Blakemore's going to try and get the run again. In the background, though, keep an eye out for Collinson and keep an eye out for Potter, because they're right on the back of this one now. It's third down to ninth, as Collinson and Potter have got themselves right. And some Blakemore's going to be out on the outside here. Collinson is through. Potter's going to be through as well, although that's going to lose him a little bit of momentum because he was the last one to get past Riley Blakemore. And through they come. Potter's going to then have to keep it pinned on the outside. He's going to have to be brave as Potter, and he is so. Runs all the way around the outside of Riley Blakemore and drops up into sixth place. Hayes then continuing to lead this battle, moving more and more towards the inside as the timer elapses down to 0. We're going to get 2.5 more laps, I think, because the leader is some 5 seconds down the road from this battle. Will be able to cross the line comfortably before the timing at the top of the screen elapses. Hayes in third place then, behind White, who is 2.5 seconds down the road. There's your leader coming over the line with White through as well. Then it's Hayes, Borey, Williams, Collinson now in front of Potter, with Wheatley and Blakemore behind them. So Collinson and Potter, who've moved through the field together, and now heading towards the top two. And let's see whether there's anything you can do about Max Williams, who has a look over the shoulder. Potter is through then on Collinson down into the hairpin. And now it's just a flash of green from Borey all the way down to Collinson in 7th. All the green carts behind the blue one of Sam Hayes. And there's Potter down the inside. Collinson's going to get in the gap as well. Last lap board out then for your leader, Harris Roberts, with Jensen White in 2nd. Hayes 3rd with Borey. Then it's Potter and Collinson, who've worked together in tandem to sort of get through everybody that was in front of them as they closed up on the back of this one. Are they going to be close enough as they head down towards the hairpin in the final corner at the very least to try and get past Jake Borey? As now they're 3 wide as they head up towards the double left. They slot back into single file as they head down towards the chicane. Your race leader, though, already out of the final corner. Harris Roberts comes through. Pole position to checkered flag to take victory in heat number 4 for Honda Cadet. White's going to get 2nd place in front of Sam Hayes for P3. He's happy with that. Then it's Potter in front of Collinson, Wheatley, Blakemore, Williams tipping, and Rye, and dropping all the way down the order is Jake Borey outside the top 10. He crosses the line in 11th place in front of Samuel Hall, Ward Alley, Winstanley, Ralston, Webster, Greytrex, Branscombe and Forrester. Your top 20 with Eyeball, Housego and Lind in front of Stansmore, Wilson and Joshua Owen.